Hello, everyone. LaRonda Little here.
And I am Emmanuel Lartey.
Welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Whole, where we discuss life, spirituality, and wellness. We invite you to follow and engage us on Instagram and Facebook at Per Ank Wellness.
Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Whole. And today we are going to dive right in, and we're talking about strategic wellness promoting activities for the body. This particular topic could not have come at a more interesting and I will go ahead and say disappointing time. It is Monday evening, February 22nd. And we are now in the season of Lent. Last Wednesday was Ash Wednesday. From the dust we were created, and to the dust we shall return. But also today in the news, we've hit a very grim milestone in which over 500,000 people, 500,000 people have died from COVID-19. And so during a season in which we would be engaging very physical rituals and fasting. These rituals have I don't know what's the word, Dr. Lartey, more poignant meaning for right now. Fasting takes on a new meaning. The fragility of life is even more at the forefront of our minds today. And so what does wellness mean for right now? Yeah. And this season of Lent. So that's what we're gonna try to tackle today.
And it really is a grim milestone. It really is when we realize that more people have died in this year since last March in the United States of America than died in the world wars.
Mm-hmm.
That have defined the very nature of the global experience, in so many ways. So it really is, and it does give us pause, to think about our physical, our bodies, which are the containers of our beings, and to think particularly of our mortality, our humanity and our mortality, are so close together. And to ask this question, what are wellness promoting activities?
And typically fasting would be one of these activities during this season. And I have to say, I'm challenged with this particular spiritual practice for right now. And of course, there are different ways in which or we can fast or participate in fasting. But I've been struggling with the question, what more can we take away?
So I think about the fact that fasting has typically to do with a way of being with food.
Mhm.
as primarily the way we think about it. I mean, we can fast from a number of things that are not food related,
Right.
and we can exercise spirit discipline, in respect of time, in respect of activities,
Mhm.
and all of that. So there are different ways in which we can fast. We can, for example, some people fast from watching certain things, certain movies on TV,
Social
or
media.
right,
Yeah.
or from social media, those kinds of things. So there are a number of different ways in which we can do that. But we typically think of fasting in relation to food, and so I do have some thoughts about, that in terms of, um, taking the opportunity to look at ways in which we select, prepare, and take in food. So the activities of selecting, we can have a you can have a fruit and veg fast, which will mean that you select only certain kinds of things to take. And having selected, you then have a whole time of preparation, and you can say a whole lot more about that than I can. But maybe you will do. But there's the preparing, which is we need to strategically prepare, what the ingredients are going to be. It took illness to get me to move away from fatty and oily foods, and the preparation of foods with a lot of, oil and so on and so forth. So yeah, so that is a part of promoting wellness through our relationship with food. So,
Mhm.
so I want to say it's not only the eating or not eating, it's also the selection, and it's also the preparation,
Yeah.
in which we can exercise wellness promoting, activities.
As it relates to food, and you're right. In fact, for the past year, I have cooked more than I have in a very long time.
Mhm.
And it's to the point that and I'm rather selective
Yes.
in what I choose to cook. And the practice um of selecting um what I want to cook, what I want to experiment with, because a lot of things I've cooked, I
Hmm.
have not cooked before.
Right.
Um, so I like how you have kind of um, have an evolved way of thinking about fasting.
Hmm.
Um, because it has been a spiritual practice for me to be in my kitchen
Hmm.
and to prepare, um, to wash the produce,
Hmm.
to uh, peel them, uh, chop them up, put them in the water. It's almost there are some days when I'm in the kitchen alone,
Hmm.
it does feel like a meditation.
Hmm.
It feels like a spiritual um, practice of washing the dirt off of the greens.
Hmm.
It's a way of orienting myself towards that which is alive,
Right.
um, and my body. In
Hmm.
so doing, I'm honoring my body. and I'm honoring the fact that the body is fragile,
Hmm.
um, and worthy to be honored,
Yes.
um, in the food that we ingest, in the food that we prepare, in the food that we offer others.
Yes.
Just recently, a friend of mine uh, um, gifted me her produce uh, box, which included some things that I had never tasted before, and it was more than, to me, it was more than a gift. It was a part of my spiritual practice
Hmm.
to receive that and to taste something new. In that way, it's more than about food.
Hmm.
It's about experiencing life and
Indeed.
appreciating life in a different way.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. So so the selection is a process akin to fasting.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
Then the preparation
mhm.
is akin to meditation, you know, building. And I think about it sometimes as how am I related to my food? How am I
Mm,
related to nature? You see, in terms of do when I eat, am I aware of the processes, the natural processes that have brought from the seed through the seed in the soil, the germination, all
the
of that.
people the
The
people who harvested
people who harvest,
their
the people,
families that they're feeding. Yeah,
right, and those who pack, those who transport, um,
yeah.
and so it brings to mind the relationality of food, and also, and this is something that I have been keenly aware, in the years that I have lived in this country in particular, the amount of food
Mm.
that is thrown away, the amount of food that is, and against that, I always have a picture of people and situations where I have had little or no food. It's quite fine for us to say we're giving up, and that's a choice that we're making. For so many people in the world, it's not a question of
Not a
choice.
choice. That's right.
Yeah, and they don't have,
That's right.
and so so that also gives me pause as I reflect over quantity.
Mm.
You see, or the size of, and that, and as I say, that is very striking when you come from where I came from and you come into this context and you see the portion sizes in the restaurants, and whoa, is this for one person alone?
And
Uh,
not only that, Dr. Lartey, but there are people here who are starving
Absolutely.
in this
This,
country.
yeah. So this is the thing. I mean, over the last, again, as a result of COVID, but also as a result of some of the weather things that we've been having. I mean, the food banks, the people are just, they just don't have, you know. COVID has really, because they've lost jobs, we've lost a whole lot of, so that cycle from the seed to the table and into the body, that cycle has been severely challenged,
Right.
and for some, it has resulted in them having having nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a yeah. I feel very much that this is this Lenten season is a time that we can think about, our relationship with food and all of the processes that go into it, and then our selectivity around food and how we can how we can make better
Mhm.
choices that promote our own health, but also choices that um, indicate our relationship, our solidarity with others
Right,
by
right.
by not hoarding and taking so much that
Yeah.
we have, think about how we can share, how we can care.
There's an idea, fasting as giving.
Right.
Um, yeah, when we have um excess,
Right.
um,
Right.
how can we share that with others? Yeah, evolved fasting uh is
You
the
know
word.
that
Mhm.
yeah, I'm smiling because that reminds me of the Isaiah 58.
Yes. Right.
The
Yeah, yeah.
you know
That was
uh
this past Sunday's Sunday
lectionary.
school
Oh, okay.
lesson too.
Right.
Mhm. Are you gonna read
Right.
that for
Right.
us?
Yeah.
I'll
You
never
see, so
forget that sermon you preached at Candler on that
right.
text.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And I mean, so things like quarreling and fighting. You first don't need to quarrel and to fight.
So
Uh,
this is Isaiah 58.
58, yes.
Mhm, mhm,
Yes. Um and you quarrel only to hit with a wicked fist,
mm,
so I mean, it's saying this is not the kind of fasting that works, so how about recognizing that being in a conflictual, fighting kind of mode is not the best way of practicing whatever it is that we do spiritually,
mm,
and then to lose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the in other words, who am I oppressing, who am I
right.
uh, silencing, who am I keeping down,
Mhm.
and I may be doing so simply by the way in which I order my life, you see, so it
That
does
could
give.
also be a lack of awareness.
Yes.
So this, in this season, fasting means also to increase our awareness
Yes.
um, of the others, of
Right.
each other, and in not doing so, we oppress and further marginalize
That's right.
one another.
That's right. And then it goes on to say, is it not to it literally to say what you were just saying, share your bread with the hungry.
Mhm, mhm,
So sharing my bread with the hungry is fasting, right? And bring the homeless poor into your home. In other words, provide for shelter
mhm, mhm.
for the homeless. When you see the naked, to cover
Okay.
them.
Mhm.
So there again, those acts of fasting, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh, right? So,
Say more about that, Dr. Lartey.
well, um, uh, you know, uh, caring for the hungry, caring for the homeless, caring for those who are naked, and then caring for our own family,
Mm,
and our
mm,
own relatives, our
mhm.
own relations. During this COVID time, we've, you have this sense of what's happening to my family members.
Yeah.
you see, and that care is is what is being, not to hide yourself from your own family. That's how I see it, so that care
Mhm.
for the well-being of and what I can do to support them, what I can do to help them out.
Could it
If
also be, I just have a question. Could it also be not to hide yourself from your own nakedness? Yes, we this text is challenging us to care for others, but we also need care.
Yes, yeah,
We're not in a position of we're not God, and we are just as fragile. So in our giving, we also have to know how to receive
yeah,
care and to offer care for our own bodies and acknowledge our humanity.
yes, yeah, and that always has to be in the mix.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because even if you just if we think about the sayings of Jesus about loving God and loving self, these are not mutually exclusive. In fact, there is
Right.
no love of God without love of or neighbor without love of
Without
self.
love of self. That's right.
See, love of self, neighbor, and God are of one piece.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and and the irony of it is, the best way of caring for myself, right, is paying attention to what I need in order that I might be there for others, in order that I might be also able to be um, present for and care for others.
This kind of links back to our discussion from last week,
Indeed, indeed.
about you know, that care and empathy and compassion, and for the self, and knowing, um, and not feeling ashamed when we have to say, "I can't do it," or "I don't have anything to give."
Right,
So
right.
so to the person that says, "I don't have anything to share,"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, that's okay.
Yeah, but the that thought actually also takes me to this the whole thing around the protocols around COVID and preventing the spread, especially on this day when we memorialize and think about the huge loss of life that has been a result of this. Acts that we can do. They are physical acts that we can do, like wearing a mask.
Yep,
And wearing a mask is both self-protective and protective of others.
and it's an
So
act of faith.
it is an act of faith, uh, in which you love God and love your neighbor and love yourself.
That's right.
Simply doing that,
Mhm.
is an act. It's simply washing my hands regularly. It's an act of faith and an act of love.
Yep.
You know, and for me, taking the well, for all of us, but for me, poignantly over the last few days, taking the vaccine.
Right.
And
Yeah.
suffering a little bit of reaction,
Mhm.
as the
Mhm.
body, produces the necessary antibodies, getting that reaction. But these are acts. These are really acts. Going out and walking.
Yep.
Taking those daily exercise, however long or short, but just these ways of I think these are all,
Ways of honoring
important
God.
yeah, acts that we can use to take care of ourselves while also taking care of others and maintaining our lives,
Yeah.
you know.
Maintaining life.
Yes.
Maintaining life.
Yeah.
Um, and I think when you I'm thinking about what does thriving and flourishing mean for right now as well. Um, but maintaining life is yeah, that's good. We want to live, but what are some and this will be the last question, but where is evidence of thriving
Hmm.
right now?
Well, this is a really good question, and I think that's the kind of question that will could motivate us to seek life.
Mm,
Yeah, seek life.
mhm, mhm,
So for me, thriving is seeking life.
mm,
And life promoting activities.
mhm, mhm.
It doesn't mean abundance, you know, or excess.
Right. Uh-huh.
It
Yep.
it means it means enough, enough to thriving means enough, not excess, not because we tend to think of thriving as having far more
A
than
whole
one
lot of
needs and all of
yeah.
that. No, but I think that especially in these times, I think the one who is thriving is the one who is seeking life, loving self, loving other, loving neighbor, and loving God.
Mhm.
That's the one who is thriving.
Yeah.
And so for
It's
me,
nature.
thriving,
Nature. I've
yes.
taken up here recently, I'll throw that in, bird watching.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and that has been such a life-giving activity as well. I have a new set of binoculars at the encouragement of the same friend who gave me the produce box.
Okay.
Um, and I have such joy. First thing in the morning, one of the things that I do is pick those binoculars up and see who's hanging out in the trees. Yeah.
Yeah. It is about relationship with nature. Just like we were saying, fasting is about relationship with
All beings.
all things and all beings.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
So, um, Dr. Lartey, to wrap up our time, can we just have a moment of prayer
Hmm.
for the families who have suffered loss in this season, please?
Hmm. 500,000 in this country, each a name, each a person in relation, each loved, related to by others. We remember them. We remember each one of them. And we do pray
Mm,
that every life will be marked and will be recognized, celebrated even. And may everyone bereaved, or we all are in a way, but may everyone we remember who has gone away through this COVID-19, may everyone be marked, everyone remembered. And may we also remember that we are dust. We are dust, and to dust we shall return. And so promote wellness in our lives.
Yes.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
And amen. Be well and be whole.